Okay, so good morning and thank you for taking the time out of your day to join our webinar today. So before I go ahead and introduce today's presenters, I would like to share the achievements the company achieved last year. So Condo Control came in first place over 78 other vendors in the property managed software category. As you can see on your screen, these two features were rated on was the best feature set as well as the best customer support. So that means we were innovative enough to come up with many different features, as well as within the support that we provide to our clients on a daily basis. So we appreciate everybody that has sort of, given us the positive reviews. We were rated on a website called Trust Radios that they have about 1.9 million monthly users. So I'm going to share that on the chat if you are interested in reading about this article. So I'm going to paste it on the chat. After the webinar, you can go ahead and read about it. There was many other companies that you might be familiar with it. But again, this is something that we accomplished and we're very proud of. So again, my name is Greg Vier, and I am your customer success team lead here at Condo Control. Many of you that have joined the webinar today have been working with me for many, many years. And I am joined today by my colleague, Gerard Salgado, which is also a customer success manager. And together we're presenting today's webinar on what's new and what's coming in 2021. So this year has been quite busy for us this far due to our sort of, e-voting / virtual meeting feature that we introduced late last year in October. We even hire e-voting specialists to assist us with this meeting. So again, if your AGM is coming up and you don't have a vendor yet to moderate and assist with the collection of proxies, please make sure to reach out to us. And you'll be more than happy to provide you a quote, to provide you a demo. Again, if you're an existing client, this is some sort of the features that we always built on behalf of clients so that you can take advantage of, so that you can be successful in using our platform across your communities. Before we begin with the webinar, I would like to refresh you on how to get help. So we operated Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern time, and we're available via phone or email. So for technical support or access related issues, such as, how can I reset my password, something very quick that you want to get out of your day, you can contact our support team at contact@condocontrolcentral.com. And you can also dial the phone number available on the screen. And then for some sort of strategic and trusted advice from our dedicated customer success team, it's myself, Christine, Miriam, and Gerard. Just so you know, in the next coming up weeks, we're hiring 2 more customer success managers. So we're going to have a team of 6. So as we're growing sort of rapidly within the past few years, we want to make sure that every single client of ours has the dedicated customer success so that we can better service your community and achieve different things to be successful on your daily operation. And of course, it's all about gathering feedback on your experience using your product. So the numbers is on the screen. We have a customer success email at customersuccess@condocontrolcentral.com, and there's the phone number available there as well. So again, we want to make this webinar as interactive as possible. So I'm going to give you a few instructions on how the interactive is going to play out today. But before I do that, I'm going to be talking about the agenda that you have seen within the invitation that you received to join today's webinar. So we have 3 sort of categories. We have the sort of recently completed items. We have the coming soon items, and we have the future plan items. This is some sort of the things that we have done very recently, and it's coming within the next 3 months. And then future plans is sort of a long term, between 6 to 9 months, within 2021. I'm gonna do one thing before we get started. I'm gonna leave the screen on your screen for a little bit so that you have an idea on what we're gonna be talking about. Okay, so without further ado, I would like to pass the microphone to my colleague Gerard. That's gonna go through some of the items that you have seen on the screen. Go ahead, Gerard.
Thanks, Greg, and thanks everyone again for joining. We'll kick it off with the mobile improvements, starting with the improved user interface for announcements. For those of you who are always on the go, you know the convenience of posting announcements on the mobile. You can couple that with our 30 plus templates, and you can reach your whole community within just a few minutes. And the same goes for the service requests, another of our most popular features, with the newly more interactive user interface that now possesses desktop features like auto response and user guides. And by the way, if you're curious on how to implement these for your platform, again, please reach out to your customer success manager and take advantage of that two-way communication with your residents.
And just to pause you there, Gerard, for the announcement and service request. So this is some sort of the most used feature in the desktop version. So we sort of mirror them to have the same sort of options that you would see from a desktop to the mobile. We have quite a few clients that they're always on the go. So this is a great tool to not only communicate directly to your residents using those pre-written templates with image that adds more value to the sort of notices that you're sending out on a daily operation. And then the second one is the sort of search request. Search request has always been on the mobile when we launch it. However, if you notice on the setup page through the desktop version of it, there's quite a lot of feature that you can take advantage on. So what we did is we mirrored those some sort of configuration. Once you apply that to the desktop, it should be visible to the search request, as well as a new sort of UI, like the user interface, to be more interactive and user-friendly from your audience, from an admin point of view, as well as for your residents. Again, if you have any questions throughout everything that we're talking about, feel free to send us, the Q&A, like through the bottom of your screen. You can raise your hand or you can post from the chat. Please go ahead, Gerard.
Thanks, Greg. So now make a payment and store on the mobile. This is for those of you who have online payments on your platform. And by the way, if you don't and are interested, again, please reach out, as we do have a credit card option payment. We have a Stripe integration, which the setup is completely free of charge. And as digital payments become the norm, you can always make a way with dealing with checks and cash. My account improvements on the mobile. And we had this request quite often that you couldn't update your information on the app. Well, this is no more the case. Now you can update your name, phone number, vehicles, pets, etc. Just be aware, it's also permission related. So it depends on how your platform is set up with regards to your specific account.
So just to comment on the my account on the app. So the my account on the app was very limited in the past, where if you had permissions on the desktop for your audience to modify their contact information, such as their phone number, their emergency contacts, their vehicle, and so forth, it was not available before. So with this new user interface and enhancement within this feature, your audience is allowed to modify information within the app based on the permissions that you have from the desktop. If you go to the setup page on the top right corner, and then you go to groups on the bottom left, you're able to sort of have different permissions within each group, so that those groups can take advantage when they log into the platform. Sorry, go ahead, Gerard.
Yep, thanks, Greg. So amenity booking enhancements. To give you some background, when COVID first hit, feels like a long while ago, but it's actually last spring, we all had to adapt to comply with social distancing measures, like having to cap certain amenities. So since then, the workaround that we had been suggesting was to create multiple amenities, say like having a gym slot 1, gym slot 2, and so on. We know that this is not the optimal way to handle it, so this was quite a requested functionality. So now you can set how many users can have a booking per time slot and get rid of those multiple amenities. So you can see in the picture there, you would go to the setup of the amenity and you can set how many bookings per time slot. Just be mindful that this functionality is when you have time slots as a booking parameter. As COVID unfortunately drags on, this is quite a useful feature that you can take advantage of. Again, you can share in the chat with us what amenity are you most looking forward to opening up. We'd be glad to hear about it.
Yeah, so just to pause on this topic here. So last year, when the sort of you're known, I call COVID amenities because those are amenities that before you used to have a fob, like your gym, your sort of swimming pool, and so forth. So our idea to rectify that issue was sort of advise our clients. If you have 10 people allowed within each hour, you have to create 10 different ones, gym 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 10, which was kind of like pain to deal with. So we designed a new technology to, instead of you creating gym 1, 2, 3 all the way to 10, in this case you tell the system how many people are allowed within this sort of time slot, and then you put a number on the drop down, and then that number then will show the availability within this time slot. So if you have 5 people allowed per time slot and you have 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12, then the system, as those slots are being taken, then it's going to show a drop down available for your audience as they're booking it.
So, virtual meeting new features. And, this is another feature built to cope with the digital shift we're experiencing. It was created last fall. And thanks to your feedback, we've added, these improvements. Ability to update your vote as many times as you want. You can now RSVP to stop receiving reminders, and automation of attendance. So, no more dealing with Excel spreadsheets, and the ability to exclude units in arrears. Again, as Greg mentioned, if you have an upcoming AGM, again, please reach out and we can share with you information on this add-on. As a side note, virtual meetings do have a high attendance and a better chance for quorum. Not to mention the lesser costs, since you won't have to deal that much with paper and will not need a physical place.
So just to comment on this feature, so this feature is sort of an add-on. So the pricing rate that we typically approach this, there's two sort of rates. One is you using the e-voting feature to collect proxy ahead of your meeting. So that goes from $2.99 per unit with a minimum of $499. Discounts are available for existing clients. So everyone that is attending the meeting, you guys can reach out to us to get a quote. And then the second rate is for us, Condo Control, moderate your meeting up to 2 hours, which is $999 for us to moderate it. So the moderation includes, we sort of handling and controlling the audience in terms of Q&A, unmuting people, answering all the questions, dealing with technical issues, and so forth. Now, when Gerard talked about the ability to track and tally the paper and proxies within the system, like you see on the screenshot in here, so that replaces what would be an Excel sheet that you would have. And then as people are coming into the meeting, I would open that Excel sheet and I say, okay, John Doe 201. Yep, he's from this building. I'm going to allow him in. I'm going to count as, he's present because he gave me a proxy prior to this meeting. So I don't want to duplicate the voting. So the system is automating that behind the scenes. So there's no sort of having that sort of document, so that we can have a fast and efficient way to calculate who's present versus who's present without a proxy, who's present that has given their ballots ahead of the meeting. And again, another thing is the emergency order in Ontario is sort of expiring on May 31st of this year. And we haven't heard anything back from the government. So if anybody is having their meeting after that, we recommend that you would have that sort of e-voting bylaw in place for you to take advantage of such. I think the government, within a couple of days prior to that, they're going to announce it again, because as things, as you know, if you're from Ontario, are not getting any better. But that's the sort of assumption that we have. But we're advising clients that have their meeting after the fact.
So now for the violation tracking module, and this has actually been very in demand from our US clients, and we had a pilot project last year. So we have been taking feedback since. And yes, for those of you who are familiar with our service request feature, it is very similar and you'll feel straight at home. You'll have your dashboard, you'll be able to have drafts, stages within violations, create your templates, vote on violations, and even include fines for residents to pay if you have the online payment set up, of course. And again, if you're interested in this module, you can always reach out and we could do a short demo on how it works. By the way, you can use the chat also to let us know how are you currently dealing with your offenders. We'd be very interested to know how that's process going for you now.
Just on the violation tracking. So if you have, so this is something that there's two sort of approaches on this. Um, One approach is there's an add-on. If you don't have this feature on your package, so we treat it as an add-on, and the price sort of pricing flyer is about $50 a month, and we have discounts available for existing clients. However, before you sort of sign a contract and say yes, I want to use it, we typically would show you a demo and sort of understand what are the challenges that you're facing within those offenders that are sort of violating your corporation rules and policies, and what is it that you're doing currently versus what the system can bring. This is some sort of reflex or service request feature, which is all tracked within Condo control. The end user that is sort of violating whichever sort of policies and rules within your condo, they will get notification based on what you have inputted into the system. If they owe money to those sort of offenses, you can add the payment feature that is integrating with their current integration with Stripe. Typically from a customer success point of view, we typically provide you a demo, we show you what we have, and then we discuss, what are sort of the challenges that you're facing on this. If it's like heavily where you don't have control, or you don't know the units are validated, how many times they have been validated, this is something that we think will add value. But again, if it doesn't add value, then we don't really recommend you to use it. But that's usually how we approach it. So again, you can reach out to us. We have dedicated customer success team to each of the accounts, so we can sort of show you what is available for you.
Moving on to survey improvements. So I believe surveys is a rather underused feature in CC, but they're a great way to get feedback from your community. So recently we added some improved functionality for maximum number of characters and skipping answers. So now we're moving on to the second quarter and what's coming during the next 3 months. Again, all based on your feedback. Please be aware that all of these are tentative dates, as the unexpected always tends to happen. So creating your own announcement templates. And by the way, we're one day early on this because this just released today. So, as I previously mentioned, we have about 30 plus templates, and we have always worked on increasing the number of templates. However, the number of requests was truly considerable. Therefore, with this recently rolled out feature, it allows you to create your very own templates. Specific for your corporation, and therefore you can save your precious time. So when you go to the platform and create and click on templates, there will be create a new template button on the top right. You can, by the way, check this out today. Now, a bit more on the amenity booking enhancements, and to make the experience go even smoother, there will be a gray out for the days with no availability. So you can see there in the picture. The system will now tell you which days are unavailable. Beforehand, you had to pick a day first, and then you would get a notification from the system. Now you can know this beforehand. Now, amenity booking and violation tracking for the mobile. So for the amenity booking, we will match the desktop interface to the mobile. By the way, if you're still using the old interface rather than the new visually appealing one, which lets you upload pictures of your amenities to display them best, then again, please reach out. This upgrade is completely free of charge if you already have the amenity booking module on your platform. As for the violation tracking, we will be introducing this module to the mobile as it is still not available yet. Now, report subscription. Reports, again, I believe is another rather underused feature in CC, but they do provide very useful data that you can act upon. For instance, you want to know how many people have registered. There's a report for that. How many people have e-consent? There's a report for that as well. Service request report, orders from the store. There's quite a myriad of reports that can provide you very useful data. And now you will have the ability to subscribe to them and receive them automatically rather than having to search them.
Just to add on to the report subscription, so within different sort of softwares we use here in Condo Control, like for example, when we do the Net Promoter Score to gather feedback, we sort of give a high-level summary of information based on the users that have given us feedback. So this sort of the same context where you can tell the system, listen, I want to have a report summary of the service request to be emailed to me and the board, every Friday of 2 weeks or every first Monday of each month, so that you don't have to go here and then click report and then generate the report and so forth. So that's the sort of end goal that we're aiming towards to. That's where some of the portfolios that we have, because they're managing a lot of the communities, they would like to have a sort of summary on what's happening within their site. So that gives you the same sort of ability to do that.
The Condo Manager two-way integration. So this is for those of you who have a Condo Manager integration already in place, and it will now allow it to go both ways. So certain information, certain fields will be able to sync back to Condo Manager from CC. Now, new language options for residents. And by the way, we are early on this one as well, as this was just released this morning. And it's for those bilinguals out there. You can now choose Spanish, French, and simplified Chinese for your language options for residents. You can, by the way, you can share with us in the chat what language would you like us to roll out next. It'd be interesting to know.
And then just a comment on the languages. So just this morning, we implemented what you see on the screen. So this is sort of the implementation for the residents. We have on the pipeline to have the ability for administrators to see different language options, because we do have the system in not only in Canada, but we have different countries that they don't have the English as their first language. So this is very exciting for us. It's a long overdue project that we have sort of lacked. So our goal is to have a lot of languages that has been requested the most available in the next coming months. This is sort of the first step in having that done. So again, if you have a specific language that you are interested in having, please do let us know.
Yep. Now looking into the future on the third and fourth quarter of this year. Again, these are quite tentative dates, and these are broad descriptions, as I know all the details still have to be worked on. And yeah, I will share screenshots of one of the features. They're still all works in progress. By the way, you can let us know in the chat what future features you'd like to see in Condo Control. So just a quick overview, there will be a live chat for management, admins, and security to communicate with residents, automation of accounts payable, approval and payment, tracking of home insurance certificates, a Bambura payment option, which actually offers both credit card and pre-authorized debit, the maintenance module overhaul, which I'll show you shortly, and the two-way integration for the QuickBooks desktop version, and the one-way integration with QuickBooks online version. So the maintenance module overhaul, by the way, this module hasn't been enhanced in quite some time. So, recently there's been demand has grown for it. So we have, many years of feedback to implement. Just again, as a reminder, this may not be the finalized look, but our aim is always to make it more user-friendly and visually appealing. So yeah, that's it on the features.
Gerard is gonna switch to the last slide for our deck. This slide is going to talk about a little bit of our Net Promoter Score. So we're launching the Net Promoter Score. We do this every year. I think this is our third or fourth year where we have done this, and we usually starts around April. So if you do receive this email, please take 5 minutes of your time and provide me with your feedback. Again, this is something that's going to go on for a couple months, but that sort of NPS feedback help us identify the areas that needs improvements, whether you have negative, positive, or your own feedback on different things. Like, we want to hear it, because if you don't tell us, then we're not sure what you want us to do in terms of existing feature and new features. A lot of features that we build, we'd like to hear if your client is going to take advantage of it, because we want to make sure it adds value to what you're doing on a daily basis. That just goes from the e-voting that we built last year. That goes from the virtual meetings that we have been hosting since October. A lot of our clients came, your competitors are doing it, why you guys are doing it. So we built that within a month or so, and we have a very successful outcome of it. So those are some sort of features and things that we want to make sure that you guys are involved as well. So that's pretty much for it, folks. I'm going to end the polling, and I'm going to share. I'm not going to share the results on this, but I want to make sure that what we're doing as a company and as a sort of service to you on a daily basis is sort of making sure that your expectations are being met. Like I mentioned, we have a dedicated customer success to each of the account. If you already know who your customer success manager is, please reach out to them. Thank you again, and I hope to see you guys soon.